Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. So before I begin, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy my videos, you know what to do. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and also make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I've been using the 2024 Moto Edge for a while now, and I've been testing the camera quality on this phone kind of extensively, and I'm finally ready to give you guys kind of a conclusion on this camera system here. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to talk a little bit about the way that they designed the camera system within the housing of the phone. So again, the back of the phone is made out of this kind of vegan leather material that wraps all around the camera itself. So kind of minimalistic, it gives it a nice look. Even if you look at the sides themselves, are a little bit curved. I do have to say that if you do set the phone on a flat table, it will wobble back and forth, so keep that in mind. So you have two main sensors on this phone, so I'm glad they didn't kind of add extra sensors that were useless. So your main sensor is a 50 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture that does also support optical image stabilization. More on that later. As far as your secondary sensor, you do get a 13 megapixel f2.2 120 degrees ultra wide angle. And in addition to all of that, the camera interface itself is kind of what you would expect from Motorola, right? So it's very easy to use. Taking pictures on this phone is instantaneous. However, if I were to kind of nitpick, I would say that switching between the main sensor and the ultra wide does take an extra second or two, and that's not something that I've seen in other Motorola devices. So I don't know what's going on with this one. Hopefully a software update can fix all that. But switching between your different modes like your photo, video, slow motion, portrait, things like that is quick and is efficient. And again, this interface is as simple as they come. By default, this phone does not take 50 megapixel pictures. You can change that here within the camera interface itself. So as far as your image quality goes, here's what I have to say about them. It doesn't really provide you the most accurate, color accurate pictures. They are a little bit saturated, and if you notice, like in this picture for example, it does kind of tend to focus more on the popular color of the picture, in this situation green. So it tries to do this where the whole picture has this kind of green hue to it. Again, that kind of hurts the color accuracy. However, it still looks pretty good for the most part. Now, switching to the wide angle sensor, you'll kind of also see loss in quality, but that is to be expected. When you go to a wide angle sensor, you're not going to have the same quality as the main sensor. As far as kind of the sharpness, the detail, they're very good on this phone. So the 50 megapixel sensor, if you have HDR on all the time, you'll be more than satisfied with the kind of the sharpness, the detail that this phone provides. So no problem there. And when I decided to take kind of pictures of buildings and things like that, the dynamic range on here worked beautifully in my opinion. So the blues are a little bit on the saturated side, which I kind of like, and the buildings themselves are sharp, they're detailed, they look really good for the most part. And even when you go about and taking kind of nature pictures in foggy situations like this one, the camera does its best to provide, like this one, this is a really freaking good picture, and even this one. So you can definitely take advantage of that and take some really nice pictures when it comes to this device here. As far as low light situations go, the lower the light, the worse the phone quality will become. That's just inevitable, but you can take some really nice sunset pictures. Other than that, when you switch to the wide angle in the low light situation, it becomes almost unusable. But as far as the noise and things like that, it tries its best to minimize it as much as possible. Mind you, this phone does not have kind of a night mode on it like the Pixels, like the Samsung devices, which is a little bit disappointing. As far as the selfie capability goes, this phone does have a 32 megapixel f2.4 that does shoot 1080p at 30 frames per second for your selfie camera, and it's fine. It's not really the most impressive selfie camera, that's why I kind of just brushed it off. So now I kind of want to switch topics and talk a little bit about the video capability of the 2024 Moto Edge. So this phone is capable of shooting 4K video at 30 frames per second, and you also have the ability to shoot also 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second, or even slow motion video. And I'm also happy to report that you can switch between your main sensor and your wide angle sensor while shooting a video, and I want you to guys actually watch the video that I shot, so go ahead and take a look and we'll come back for some final words. Alright, so this is the video test of the 2024 Moto Edge, and we're kind of heading towards the sunset, so I think this is an amazing light to kind of test out the video capability of this phone. So this phone does support optical image stabilization, and right now I'm trying to test the focus on this phone to see how good it is as far as autofocus goes, and it seems to be pretty decent. Not the best that I've used, but works okay, I guess. And yeah, You can also change between the main sensor and the wide kind of easily, but you can tell that there's going to be quite loss in quality with the wide angle sensor, the main sensor. And yeah, that's the sunset out here. So obviously the video that I shot here was kind of in a little bit of a harsher lighting conditions, but it did a pretty decent job. One of the problems that I have, or I would say two problems. One, the focusing system is not as quick as other phones like the Galaxy A35 or even the Galaxy A55 that this phone has been compared to. And in addition to that, when you do switch between your main sensor and your wide angle sensor, the kind of mic itself does cut off a little bit, and I'm hoping you guys noticed that in the video. But overall though, decent video, not too mad at it. Okay, so here's my kind of conclusion on the camera experience itself. In a vacuum, this is a pretty good camera. Unfortunately, we don't live in a vacuum. There's a lot of competition out there, and I would say that this is definitely progress in Motorola's defense, but it's not perfect. There's also the Pixels of the world and the high-end Galaxies of the world that are at a similar price point that perform better than this one. However, progress, thumbs up. It's not perfect, but we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress. Good job, Motorola. So with that being said, I'm going to end it here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.